Here we go. Yes, ma'am. We are live. We are live. I'm gonna go in and check and make sure that it is streaming appropriately so I can share it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hits and Heels. It's Wednesday night as usual, and we are about to get it in. We have a special guest tonight. Um, let me. I gotta share her. She is all that. We are live. We are live. So we got the leadership strategist tonight, Miss Monique Smith, Monique AJ Smith. Girl, welcome to Hits and Heels. So first of all,
hi, how are you all doing?
First of all, tell everybody who you are, because I don't think your bio really did you any justice, even though I put it on the bio. But I don't think your bio really does you any justice about who you are. And I need everyone to know that if you are, after she gives her bio, if you are interested in any type of profession in the athletic field, especially in higher ed, Monique is the plug. That's all, and that's all I'm gonna say. Now, Monique, tell everybody who you are.
Well, if I can stop grinning, thank you so much for saying that. I am Monique AJ Smith. I am a leadership strategist for athletic departments, sport organizations, and individuals who wish to advance in athletic administration or sports management careers. And I just finished teaching 6 years at Hampton University, so I'm trying to embrace sports management careers. But no, I have spent 30 years in athletic administration. My first job was a sports information director at St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia. And then I became an interim athletic director at St. Paul's College at 28 years old. I am now 56, so there's some experiences I'm able to use. And from the experience of being in that role, hey, Valentine, how are you? Thank you. And then from there, I went to Mellish and Shore to do compliance for 2 years. And then the commissioner of the CIAA, Leon Carey, called me and said, come on back home, because I interned with the CIAA when I was a sophomore in college. And I remained with the CIAA for 13 years. I went there as the PR director. I was promoted to championships and then promoted to governance. And 10 years ago, I took my consultancy full-time, Seeds of Empowerment. And within those 10 years, some things just start happening. Somehow or another, my publicist said, I want you to be on this podcast. No, she didn't say podcast. She said radio show. And I said, there ain't no radio show. But I said, okay, I'm going to go with it. I embraced the word podcast, and then I felt genuine. So my podcast, A Chat in the Garden with Monique AJ Smith, where I interview African-American female athletic administrators, is 10 years old in August. And our Facebook group has grown to 3,000. We are internationally known. And then I'm a publicist of a magazine, Statistics in Athletics and Sports. But what I really do enjoy is traveling across the country and doing leadership workshops, retreats, staff retreats, student athlete workshops across the country for athletic departments to try to help them navigate the moving parts of athletics administration. I do executive coaching for individuals who want to advance, but maybe of a senior level. Okay. And then I enjoy once a month with my Advanced Academy, where I do bring experts in and we deal with a leadership topic or I lead. And all of it's recorded in a vault. And we've been doing that since 2019. So when I work individually with people, I can say, you need to watch this. I use assessments to figure out what areas that we need to cover. And I believe that's all it.
That's it.
Right. That's it.
That's it.
First of all, that's not it. Second of all, that's still a lot. That's still amazing. But anyway, I'm biased.
So tell me, you said you grew up in a small town in Virginia. So how did you get involved specifically with athletics?
Well, both my parents were school teachers, and the basketball coach was a school teacher. So he asked my father, could I keep the scores? This was the 8th grade. My father said, absolutely not. She will not be traveling on the bus with your guys. And Coach Joyner said, no, Winston, I got her. She'll sit on the front row. Ain't nothing going to happen to her. And I thank Coach Joyner to this day for starting me on my way. And so you couple the love of sports, small town, that's what gathers the community together. I was a writer and I was an organizer. I was a leader. So when you know that you're trying to get things moving and you need to have a carrot, sports is it. And so you get the butts and seats and then you do what you need to do to make some change happen. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did in high school. My English teacher said I needed to major in PR. So I majored in PR at Hampton University. And my my sophomore year, there was a sign on the bulletin board in my math meeting. And it said, Sports PR Intern, CIAA, January 1988. I turned in my stuff. I was the only woman. And it was 3 guys, and she took all 4 of us. And I was already writing sports stories because I believe in human interest stories is what gets butts in the seats and gets people following. And when I was in high school, I would practice. I was already at the game. I was already keeping the scores. I knew what the stats were. I would try to write the story, then compare it to the progress index of Petersburg, Virginia, to see how I was doing with that. And that's how it just really started. It started just as my love of sports. And let me just tell you another fun fact. You're probably too young, but there was a TV show called The White Shadow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Thorpe on the TV show is my cousin.
Oh, wow.
Robert Hooks. Well, yeah, Robert Hooks. Yeah, those are relatives of mine. So when he was a little boy, he played in the movie Sounder. So as a family, you watch something, you see a family member, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the TV show came out when I was like 6th grade or something. And that show told us that sports reflects society and society reflects sports. And that's how my brain worked. I watched my neighbors across the street, across the road, because in the country they call the road. And I just watched how they act after the game. They would anger and then, how people would love on them. And then how the coach, is like the father figure. It's my brain thought like that. And then to learn when I started teaching psychosociology of sport, this is a thing. I tell a story that way. I have a friend that says, you all about the moral victory. And I'm like, yeah, because when I was at St. Paul's, my boss was the first female athletic director for the CIAA. But she died after 1 year of me working with her. So I had 6 freshmen looking at me. I'm like, what's next? I'm going like, okay, let's get the financial aid. Let's get the dorm. And then I kept telling them, you all are a team. You got to be able to work these things out. When I tell you everything came at me, I was like, I had to learn fast. And that's how I became interim AD because
you were doing a job. And you figured it out.
We went through 5 different ADs. And I was a consistent person. I said, yeah, okay, you need to be doing this. I said, well, you need to be doing this. And this is how we fix this. And so I'm all about policy procedures and how to get to one place to another. I've always been a planner. I've always been a leader. And it just, just comes natural to me.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay, and so I love how you came about with the magazine, though.
Thank you.
How did you come about the magazine?
The magazine. Well, it's interesting because, again, as a leadership strategist, you know, you want to have a person get from one place to another, but they just can't seem to put the concept in their head. I was trying to do something like a speakers bureau, right? And nobody was just getting it. You know, very similar to our conversation before we came on the air. I
Yes,
was
ma'am.
trying to say you need to get your name out there. You want to become the expert. You know, there's something in your head that you produce, and you produce it everywhere you've been. You know how to solve a problem. You know how to say about policy procedures. There's something in our brain that says you do this step and this step and this step. And if you can write that down so people can follow it, guess what? You become an expert. You become a consultant. You become a person somebody needs to ask a question about. And if somebody has a question for you, guess what? You can go and present a rate.
I love it.
So people always want to know, how do I do what I do? And I'm trying to teach them what I do.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
But I'm not a business coach.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not a business coach. So this does. So with this, I'm teaching you, like we had a conversation, how do you make yourself a brand that you can package to monetize your specialized knowledge. So that is what this is about. The career piece, that's what the podcast is for. This is to put out in the marketplace your specialized knowledge, either to become a consultant, an expert out there, or to get to your next, to repackage yourself or reposition yourself, or as a young person, how to say, this is what I do. This is what this is all about.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the fact that you featured me in your spring of 2023 magazine, Love and Basketball. So we kind of talk. I just basically just told a story of my husband and I, how I got started with football. It basically really is a love and football type of a story, as far as I know, because I've been looking. I think we are one of the only husband and wife football coaching duos in the nation, across the nation, because I haven't been able to come across anybody else, because there's not too many men that are bringing their spouse on as their assistant coach. Right. You know, why, I don't know, because most of the time we know more than what they do anyway, even though they've been coaching probably longer, right? And so, and maybe, but maybe that's the problem. But maybe that's the issue, though. Maybe that's the issue, because they don't want the women to come, because everything we do, we take it over anyway. I mean, that's what we do. We multiply whatever. That's what we do as women. You know, we take whatever you got and then we multiply it, and we take it and we exponentially. Well, let me go there. So I love that you did that. Thank you so much.
Let me break that down for you a little bit. Women leaders, we have great emotional intelligence. We'll be able to get the most out of a person. It looks like we're multiplying, but it's because we can be able to see something that they can't see and be able to get the most out of someone. And that's why it looks like we are. And people gravitate to people who get, right? And so we get you, because I'm telling you, the football players, my husband is just, I said, don't y'all run over me. I taught 30 football players, right? And they're all talking to me. And he tells my mom, he said, Mom, they all call her Miss Smith, Miss Smith, Miss Smith. They're all hugging her and whatnot. They all say, I'm the teacher that got them. You know, and when you can get them, people will perform for people that get them, not for the W's and the L's. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's why the whole turn is for women in football. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to coach you a little bit. You didn't ask me to, but I'm going to say. So if you know that you look for somebody like you, okay, you need to be pitching for couples groups, okay? Because that's one of the places why women go and complain about Sunday. Why don't you get on the couch and watch the game?
And learn the game so that you can enjoy it with them.
Girl, my husband was mad with me. The cheerleaders were out there talking about, get the ball back. I said, honey, we got the ball. Like they just cheer. I said, you better learn this game. You better learn this game.
Please.
You better learn the game and say the right cheer, because because that's the problem. They think you only want to be around sports to get, just like you did about 40 years ago, or a sister, to get a man or a husband or a mate. That's not the case. And I said, that's why I was a little mascot at 4 years old, because both my parents were school teachers and they had to be there at the game anyway. So slap a uniform on me and let me just go there and I was taking dance, so it's okay. But I'll be daggone if I'm not going to use what the good Lord gave me for the betterment, you know, and I'm not even thinking about, because again, my husband played football at Hampton, and they all told him, that's big sister, you know, and I ain't never dated anybody in college. But he had enough sense to talk to my little brothers and whatnot to convince them that he was all right for me to date. But they all said, well, and then if he act crazy, they said something to him. I said, well, you asked for that. So same thing happened, you know, even as a sports information director. I was the first female full-time SID in the CIAA. All the men, all assisted. But you know the funny thing? Years later, I was trying to get one of my people hired. And he said, they forgot I was a woman. He said, but you know, she's a woman and we got to travel. I said, did you just realize what you just said? And what am I? And what did I do? Oh, you're right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you got to
why do they feel like women can't travel?
What it's not they can't travel. They think they're doing you a favor by protecting you.
Protecting you.
And, right. And that's not what I need. I need to be treated like everyone else. Now, with me back in those days, if they, after a basketball game, any kind of sporting event, they're all going to hotel rooms, right? And they would go in there and drink their cognac. Well, I went in the room. I had my Pepsi, but I also had a crew of students with me. You follow me? Now, it was funny. It was like when I was single, even when I was single, because people always would try you. A young guy who was a first-time SID, and he was trying to, I guess, talk to me. And everybody was like, man, don't knock on that door because ain't nobody going to answer. Keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Protecting from everybody else. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what I grew up in. And I wanted to have the same mindset with athletic administrators for women, because I saw the Queen Bee syndrome happen. You know, the older women be like, oh, they just put that young girl in that position because it'll be watered down. I'm like, no. I was the first, but I will not be the only. I will make sure that other women did not have to go through that. Let me prove myself. You know, I'm not here just, I'm here for the long haul. And so one of those individuals is now the commissioner for the MEAC. Sonia Steels was the SWA for Hampton when I was the SWA for Maryland and Shore. And she came into the fold. And I saw it coming. I said, I blocked it. I was like, Superwoman, no, you're not going to happen to her. And so that's what I just try to do nationally. Just try to like make it so that you all can flourish in this field.
So have you met oh my God, she just got married, Miss Massey. She's a new assistant athletic director here at Kentucky. She used to be, I think, the director of operations. So Kentucky now has a Black female athletic director. And are there any other female athletic directors, let alone Black, in the SEC that you know of? Or is she the only one?
She's not the athletic director.
She's the assistant.
You don't mean she's the assistant.
She's the assistant athletic
director. There's plenty of those in different areas. Yeah, there's several areas. It depends on what area of operations, but I you know, being that she's married with a married name, I may know her and just know her from a previous previous name, but
remember,
I'm
yeah,
not
'cause I can't
sure.
remember her previous name.
I don't remember either.
But I didn't post it inside the group, so I don't think I do. No.
Yeah, because I don't remember you posting her inside the group.
No, I don't
So
know about that. We must find her.
I might have to add her to your group so that she can get recognized. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of, and I'm just gonna say it because I'm one of them.
We bloom.
Yeah. you have a lot of babies in the industry, right? And I'm speaking from experience. So what is it? What advice can you give someone who is in athletics? And you know me. I was like a knucklehead, hard-headed. I was a hard worker, but I was a knucklehead when I was when I was with you working. What advice do you have for the me
I
of the world?
I wouldn't use those terms. I wouldn't say a knucklehead. I would say a hard worker that was, you know what I'm going to say? Looking for affirmation externally instead of internally.
Mm-hmm.
And so that comes from building confidence within, because, and it wasn't just you. It was, I mean, everybody that goes through this process, especially if you're a high achiever, you're used to seeing the A's. You know, you still can see a grade. And when you're in the workforce, you don't necessarily get that periodically. You may have the end of the year conversation, but you want to see how you're doing. And I had the same situation, but something clicked in me as a sports information director. I said, I will not look for affirmation from the coach. I won't look for affirmation from the athletic director. I won't look for affirmation from the media. I'll look in the eyes of that kid that I got their story in their local paper, but they never had it in the local paper because I wrote it myself, and I sent it there. And that's how, it's the same way about building trust. Mm-hmm. You know, honestly, I had more control over the behavior. I remember being at a baseball game. Nobody's at the baseball game, but the young man was acting a fool. And I said, you know what, you keep acting a fool, my hand gonna fall off, and you know, if I don't write about it, it didn't happen. So you better get them sent.
Yep, that's good. I think that's so important because
so I think confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's the confidence that we have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's so important because as the work that you do helps with the affirmation, right? Like, because you force people to dig deep within themselves to find that affirmation, or the like, don't go looking for validation from anywhere else. You know what to do, you know how to get it done, and find ways to promote what you do, not in an arrogant, boastful way, but to, again, you taught me this term, expose your expertise, right? It's all about exposing your expertise. So what are some tips that you have for others? And, you know, we may not all be in, I'm hoping we can all be in your magazine. Now, wait a minute. Now, I know I got to get my article done. It's coming. I know I've been saying that for like 8 months, but it's really coming. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done because you won't let me not get it done. So it's going to get done. But what tips do you have for someone that is, again, they're working their way to these things? We've got we're confident in all of this, right? How can we promote and expose our expertise and work our way to things like being in on the Seeds of Empowerment Speakers Bureau, and the in the significance in athletics and sports magazines and things like that? what are some tips that you have for people so that they can start plugging away and doing small things along the way to expose their expertise?
Well, the one thing I do with all my clients is I do mindset work. We really need to figure out why and where and how are you leading your ship? Because there could be some bitterness going on. And when you are bitter, you can't be better. And that is one of the things, because, you know, the confidence piece can fake you out and making you think you confident when you just trying to get back at somebody, try to prove somebody can do this. Right. And that confidence, it has no competence with it. And so that's where you got to really know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And so when you know that part, that's going to drive that confidence to be truly competent. And we become competent, then you're an expert. And we can market the expertise, because, you know, like anything else, if somebody has a problem, you have somebody that pops right into your head.
Yep.
And whatever that is, I'm going to take Coach Terry, for example. You know, you see a young lady who knows football, right? Not necessarily going to be with her man, but just knows football. How do you get noticed? What are they going to do? Coach Terry, how did you be able to show your proficiency? Did you just talk about it on a Sunday? You know, I mean, did you write plays? What did you do that made your husband notice that? You know, and then not even that, she's coaching her own with a women's football tackle team. What if we have women out here who want to start one? I just want to coach there. You got to get your name out there, because again, exposure equals elevation. And if you want to advance, you have got to be really in your area.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you caught all that.
Girl, writing it down. I'm taking the notes. Well, Danny, I just think that what she just said was just really, really profound. Even Calandra Valentine had said the same thing. She was like, "Phew."
Yeah.
Because
here she is.
You got her?
Yep.
Okay. We got you, girl.
Okay, I'm back.
You're back.
We got you.
So you heard all that I said about being competent.
Yes, the exposure equals the elevation. That is profound. Yes. Like that is a word in itself. That the exposure equals the elevation. I mean, again, I think that's what, like you said, if someone was to come to ask me that, they was like, how did you put yourself out there? I mean, it was just the conversations that we have during the game. Maybe not the conversation, maybe more of the debate. The times where we would be at a bar somewhere and somebody would say something and I'd be like, what are you talking about? No, they're in the wrong coverage, or no, they should have did this, or no, they should have did this, or I would always contradict what somebody else, some guy would say, but they would always have to, excuse my language, pull their nuts out to prove that they're, that they're the man, but and then my husband would just laugh, right? Or he would say something to back up what I say, or he would say it in a way for him to understand it. Because for some reason men speak a whole totally different language. I don't know why it's not English, but they speak a whole totally different language.
Speak, girl. It's called mansplaining.
Yes.
It's called mansplaining.
So can you talk about that? Like I know because one thing you taught me was like as a Black woman in this industry, like don't overexert yourself trying to prove yourself, right? Let your character and let your actions speak for who you are and the expertise that you have. And that will shut people up right? Or they'll talk themselves into a tizzy and end up looking foolish, right? And so we don't have to do anything to prove someone wrong or anything like that. But how do you handle that? Like how did especially as a young Black woman who started at the age of 28 as an athletic director, because that just was not common.
No. And thank goodness Alfreda Gall was my sister athletic director in the same conference. And that's why she's on the cover, because she had my back. Gotcha. She had my back. I mean, and then she put me out there on my very first NCAA committee because she saw me work and how I worked and how I handled my staff, you know. And the interesting thing is, you know, a leader isn't a leader unless somebody following them, right?
Right.
So people saw that I had a crew with me, right? And then even if I didn't have that crew, I had a crew from another school crews following me, you know? And so if I got people already following me, I don't need you to try to, you know, get on board. Yeah. I'm all right. You know, I just do what is mine to do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, you know, like we talking about football. Well, even with baseball, I asked a young lady the other day, you know, you like baseball? I said, but can you score a baseball game? They're like, it can't be that hard. I said, well, score this. Shortstop to catcher. No, center to shortstop to catcher. Huh? Right. Do you know how to do that, Danny? I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
862.
862.
Yeah. So we're watching. This is funny. My husband and I are watching the what's the name of the movie? What was the guy's number? 48, 47?
42.
42?
Yeah, 42. Right. The movie 42.
Oh, yeah.
And my husband said, that's the cutoff man. I said, I mean, it's like people don't even realize, even if they're in your presence and they know you.
Right. Yeah, really that they don't know what you know. Or they know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so sometimes you got to give people grace. You know what I mean? So sometimes I just kind of go like, oh, that's interesting. You know what I mean? You know, so, but I will tell you, the people that had to figure out how to tell my expertise fastly were the presidents, because I did look young, and they had, and even when I won Dr. Yancey over, I won because I was my very first board meeting, and the commissioner said he wanted me to add 2 new women's sports, and I had just come from the MEAC, and I oversaw bowling, and somehow or another, I had gotten contact with the Bowling Collegiate Association, which was not the NCAA. They had their own championships. And that's what Maryland Shore was a part of. So Maryland Shore ended up winning a national championship. I was in the very beginning. I was an administrator over bowling. So my point to telling you that background is that I'm going into a meeting, my very first board meeting, presenting this idea of having bowling. You got to have, I told you about competency. You got to know your stuff. And when you know your stuff more than the people that you're talking to, even if they're presidents of colleges, and you can show it how it's going to benefit them. The other part I had knowledge of was the fact that I was on the NCAA Division II Championship Committee and Membership Committee. And I knew they were going to go to 10 sports, and most schools had 8. Here's a problem. Here is the solution to your problem. And this is what I'm providing for you. So this bowling conference, they provided a budget for each one of the schools at the board meeting. Bam, 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 bam. Thank you, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? It was like, here's your problem and solution. And if we do this, the NCAA will have 40 bowling schools, and we will have a national championship. And did you know bowling is on television? I guarantee we will have 1 school on television. And guess what? We did. Winston-Salem State was in the very first bowling championship. So when you get that first win, and it might sound crazy, but it's like Noah. And when that rain start coming, you kind of go like, okay, next problem.
That's good. That's good. And I think that in one of the books that you give everybody, you tell everybody to read is The Four Agreements. And I think when I read that book once, and then I read it again, and then again, and I just keep reading it.
Yes,
Because I think at every level of your life, there's that reminder of those 4 agreements. So how do you now that you're in a different phase of life, you're no longer, you're still the queen of athletics, right? Still the queen of athletics. How are you applying the 4 agreements now? And how have you seen the 4 agreements change your life and how you operate with your clients, those that you mentor? Kalandra, I'll put the title of the book in the up on the screen so you all can look at it.
Well, I'm 56 and things evolve. And so I'm a caregiver. And so I do have to slow down. And I would say a lot of my listening and patience and whatnot has to do with medical. Because, it's not an area I'm very proficient in.
Right.
So you have a lot of trust in the area. But when you know, like one medicine continues to make my mother throw up. I mean, we in the doctor's office and she's throwing up in the parking lot. So I try to get back in the doctor's office and they tell me, oh, no, take to the emergency room. I said, excuse me? So I had to embrace some things. Yeah. But as it relates to the 4 agreements, I use it continuously with my clients. And I've expanded to the point of I made an assessment. So the assessment tells me which one we need to work on. And then from there, like I have a most recent client, and I'm going to tell the 4 agreements so people will know, is don't make assumptions, be impeccable with your word, don't take it personal, and always do your best. And so,
what's the 5th one?
It's only 4.
It's just
4. They've come out with, there's 5.
Well, the book is 4, honey.
That book is, and then he came back with a new one. Go ahead.
But yeah, I ain't fooling with the 5th one because
okay.
So the 4. So when I deal with don't make assumptions, I have a book I deal with questions. You need to ask questions because questions knocks out assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So so the books I use in my group coaching and my executive coaching have homework. Okay, have homework. And so they had to report back to me, and then I can see things change. I mean, the 4 agreements has been almost every change and advancement of any individual's work with me. They all point back to the 4 agreements is what did it for them. Don't take it personal. One of the books that I've been pushing is by a young lady, and she has this book, and it's called Success is My Major. And I give this to young people who's been like in the business 1 or 2 years. And this has made a change. Very similar because it talks about being entitled. Right? Mm-hmm. And so when they can be able to see it from their language, that's the same thing. You don't take it personal. Whoever was a young person, be a freshman, they'll be required to do this. Go ahead and make yourself the best. Like I said, competency. And then you have to deal with it differently. And then impeccable with your word. It's the conversation you have with yourself.
Yep.
And so I try to block negative stuff by playing gospel music. So it will block it, I don't watch these reality shows. I don't even watch these judge shows.
Oh my gosh.
And but my family does, so they all know. I'm going to be humming when I walk into the room and when I walk out. I protect my intake, music and TV shows. And then always do your best. So perfection. And because I'm an entrepreneur now, I've definitely, you have done is better than perfect, because you need to have the feedback.
Yeah.
And the data to improve the product for the marketplace.
Yep. That's good.
There you go.
That's good. That's good. So I do want to let you know what the fifth one is, and it is to be skeptical but learn to listen. Be skeptical but learn to listen. That's the fifth one, fifth agreement. But
well,
yeah,
I know that'd be my biggest one, because that is one thing. I my patience, you know what I'm saying? You know, but it's interesting because I made a quote recently and somebody else said something about it too. You know, are you hearing or are you listening? I know it's a person on the podcast I had on today. They said something about comprehension and communication. There's a difference.
Yeah. And I love the I saw this years ago. It said silent and listen have the same, they're spelled the same way with just 2 letters flipped. And you should, in order to listen, you have to be silent. And it reminds me of the conversation we were just having, right? Of the guys that feel like they got to interject and over talk and do this and do that. And it's like, if you listen, if you're silent and listen to what I'm saying, you will know I know my stuff. But, and I had this problem too. Like, I would be like, you, like, I'm mouthy, right? So I would be like, no, I gotta prove myself. I gotta prove this, and I gotta prove that I know what I'm talking about. And I have to do this, and I have to prove that. And I feel like after taking years away from athletics and now coming back and seeing how much has changed, but there's some stuff that's just constant, right? Like, some stuff just does not change. But that time away taught me how to just come in and do the work.
There you go.
Just come in and do the work. And in doing the work, people see that, oh gosh, like, who is behind that, right? And so now it's like, oh, okay, so I'm cool. But now I'm in a space where I'm not seeking anything. I'm comfortable where I am.
You're not seeking affirmation.
Yeah, I'm not seeking affirmation. I don't need validation because I know my stuff. And now I'm in a larger position where I can help others become experts.
Sounds like a good article to me.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
But you know when I learned how to do that is when back in the day I would do stats and the kid or somebody would, give me the caller and they're debating upon who got the rebound. Ain't no need to debate. After I hit this return, I'm not going to debate.
We're not going to fix it. That's it. That's who made it.
Well, you got the ink pen. There's no debating. Okay? So that's where you just kind of go like, okay, why am I debating you? Because again, when you get a win after win after win, people just ask you what's next.
Yep, absolutely.
So what is the state of total change, subject change? Because what you just said just made me just totally just go off in left field.
Okay.
So Jimbo Fisher just got paid $80 million to go away.
Mm-hmm. He's got somebody good on his team who knows how to win, which is a lawyer.
Okay, so what is the difference between, of course, coaches in the CIAA and other conferences aren't getting paid that type of money to go away. So as an athletic director, how would you address something like that? Obviously, you wouldn't have made a contract. You just kept him on until his contract was over, and then you just wouldn't renew the contract. But have you ever been in that situation where you had to go ahead and get rid of a coach and pay them out to get them to leave?
Interesting question. Well, you understand, I did work at an institution, and then I worked at a conference office where all these things were just floating around, And influence is a high commodity. Okay, influence, meaning a president will call and ask a commissioner, what should I do about X? Commissioner asks his number 2, what do you think I should do about X? So I can say I've been around for 30 years. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen people be on month to month. I've seen people being paid out. Depends on, where the money is coming from. You got a foundation, you can do those type of things. If you don't, and one of my bosses was like, I can't pay somebody when I can't keep the lights on. So it just depends on where the salary is coming from. And then you have to understand, this whole conversation is from a PR standpoint. So if you're trying to make sure you get money's coming in, and you give your money when you said, oh, you can get this money to somebody even here, so you got to be able to weigh all that into play. But let's be really clear. At certain levels, the AD is not making those kind of decisions anyway. It's a presidential, it's a board decision.
Okay, gotcha.
And so it's going to be at that high level. Then therefore, they can weather that storm. It just depends on where that's coming from.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like the Bible, shake your dust off and move on, because some things are just not even worth it. You're talking about that level, but even our Division I HBCU conference, I have no clue and have an understanding about what happened. I have no clue what's going on at Compton, but I do know the story is still out and still going strong. So, from a PR standpoint, we want to be able to just close the can as quickly as possible and move on.
Right.
And that's how I look at it, because that's my first thought process. But I've had to fire a coach, and he thought that he could one-up me. But I already knew that the president was
it was his decision or her decision
going to back me. But because I was a woman, he thought he thought that he could scare tactic.
Right.
And that wasn't going to happen. And this is when I was 28 years old. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to just give y'all my little tip. Especially because then I went from being a AD to a compliance person. And a compliance person, coaches are always trying to get you to agree with what they're trying to get done.
Right.
But you don't know all of the bylaws in the book. So I would do this. And this is what I would do. Because again, I'm used to talking fast. This is when I learned how to talk real slow. I would get some lotion, put it in my hand, and I do this. Interesting. And by the time I get the lotion all the way in, then I speak. Some people do it with water. I do it
with lotion. I like that.
Yeah.
So 30 years of experience. what is the most mind-blowing moment that you have experienced? I guess mind-blowing as far as just, I don't know, like a divine type of intervention type thing, something only God took care of this.
My whole career, baby. My whole
Really?
career. Because I mean, that's that I would say that. Because I would not even being a entrepreneur for 10 years. It's divine, because I would not. Who even knew what a podcast was? You know, the magazine came out of just trying to get somebody to understand their expertise. Me and this book came out of just me going to a conference and the lady hitting the nerve, and I was like, I think I'll write about that.
Right.
And then the book came out during the pandemic, and I was getting no more speaking opportunities.
Right, because everything was shut down.
Right. This book saved my life. I was having virtual book signings and everything. So definitely, my life is definitely, all glory to God, because who would know? I mean, I didn't have an example. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a map.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say,
you're the trailblazer.
A couple of thank you. I was used by God, because God used all flawed people in the Bible to guide people. So I will tell you, I definitely had some. But one of the things that I always say is a turning point. I was about to leave St. Paul's College. I was working the Olympics in '96. In the Morehouse College, I was assigned to basketball. And the president of the college tracked me down. I had a bag phone. We had no cell phone, a bag phone. But somehow he tracked me down in the press room. And he said, our current athletic director has left. I said, huh? And I said, oh. He said, I want you to be the new athletic director. And he did say, I'm going to make you interim because I don't trust these people. I want to protect you. So he made me interim for 2 years, and he made me the athletic director, but I decided to leave. He was harder with me, but I was like, man, I said, when you get ready to leave, you put your feet up. I got to go where I can go. So anyway, the bomb, I said, let me think about it. That night, the bomb went off at the Atlanta Olympics. And I said, life is short. Anybody else would take the job and learn on the job. I've been there already 5 years. I'm going to take this job and I'm going to learn this part of it. And that's what I did. So that was a turning point. When the commissioner of 23 years was fired and I was interim commissioner, that right there was earth-shattering. The sitting chairperson, we just finished the board meeting, and he asked me, they told me to shred some papers. So I went to the store to shred the papers. Because it was financial documents.
Okay.
And so I'm in the parking lot, and he calls me. He says, "Are you driving?" I said, "No, I just pulled in the parking lot. I'm about to go shred the papers. I'm a good little working." And he says, "We just the term he used. I'm a little naive. I got some blonde in me, and he whatever he said, I said, oh, he said we just released or something, and I was just like, you know what?" And then when he said, "I need you to get the keys," that's when I knew what he meant. And then my hands started shaking. And I was like, okay. So I started writing down everything he said so I would know what to do. And the part that got me was I went to, and I'm going to tell you this. I learned that they did not see me. I did not have a desire to be commissioner, but I did want to be interim since I had served as a number 2 person to guide us through this transition. But he said to me, no. not him, but another president said they did not see me as a leader. They saw me as a manager. And that's one thing I tell all of my sitting ADs. I said, you need to start doing. You need to be sitting and being a visionary. Let somebody else run around with the agenda, planning the meeting, all of that, because they don't see you as the leader. And they don't. I said you need
a manager.
Oh yeah, and I also say you got to replace yourself, especially if you are moving up. You got to replace yourself, and everybody can't have access to you. You need to be able to have a system where you can sit and think and plan. And so currently, one of the people I work with is Boo Williams, is AAU, and people in AAU have just been around for days. Well, I use my students in my class, to run these tournaments, and they just hell bent on the fact that I delegate. I say, well, leaders delegate. I'm so sorry you're not one. I'm not gonna run. You need some balls, okay? So get the balls. I mean, then I'm not running around here. Right. I don't run around. Okay. No, now, if I had never done it before, I would go do it, and see how it's done. But after that, it's intern. And so that's what I really learned about this whole situation. I could be in a place for 13 years, playing the whole counter for the whole conference, do X, Y, and Z, but they did not see me as that. And it wasn't
right
because I was a woman. It was because I thought being busy showed my stuff as a leader. And from that day forth, I don't run around.
Okay. Oh my goodness. That's good. That's good stuff. I knew you would just come on here and just drop a whole bunch of nuggets and bombs and all types of stuff on here because of who you are. I just appreciate you coming on, because everybody just need to, my circle needed to know who you were, because, I look at you as a mentor now, of course, because I am in athletics, and, I do want to find my space, or my part in that space. So I definitely appreciate everything that you have brought to the table. I love the freaking magazine. Oh my God, y'all. Danny, can you make sure you put the magazine?
Let me put the link back up now.
Yeah, the magazine. So I was in the September 93. Is there a separate link for all of the different magazines, or you can get them all in one link?
You can get them all at the store.
At the store. Okay, you can get them all at the store, depending on which one it is. Yeah. So yeah, mine is the spring of 2023 is the issue that I'm in, the Love and Football, but on the cover of that, right?
Yes, I was about to say that. Alfreda Gall, she and I were athletic directors together, and she's the one who put me on my very first NCAA committee. When she became the president of NACWA, now Women Leaders in College Sports, she made me the chairperson of the awards committee. And so I was supposed to be planning. She says, no, you will get up there and you will be the MC. Now, let me just give you this one. I know you're ready to go. Sister Girl was SGA president at Sussex Central High School. Sussex Central High School would not allow her to speak at graduation because she stuttered. Do you see the miracle that's sitting in front of you right now?
Wow.
Who was asked to go and speak at graduation in 2017 as the keynote deliverer?
Okay.
You see, God will use people to get you to your next, and you don't even know it, because you know what we're doing? Oh, but no. When we say yes, he says yes. Those are two yeses to get you to your next.
So what was the name of the group? The Women's Leadership?
Women Leaders in College Sports.
Women Leaders in College Sports. Women Leaders in college
it's
sports.
Women Leaders in
Sports.
What's the name of it now, Danny? They keep changing the name of it. Yeah, they just rebranded to be inclusive of all women. So it's Women Leaders in Sports.
Women Leaders in Sports, just period. Oh, so they took out the college out of it.
Yeah, right. Because honestly, people were moving like me, like now I can,
you're not in college, but you're still, in the sports industry.
I still stayed in there. But there are many people that are on the pro side or maybe on the nonprofit side. And so, I mean, again, if we're going to make this thing pop, we got to go ahead. Well, let me just say this. This T-shirt is also in the store. These words come from all of the attendees inside the garden. When I asked what is a chat in the garden, this is what they said. So, again, this saved me during the pandemic too. But, so Women Leaders in College Sports is what I was on the board with Frida. And I'm telling you, this year we went to convention. We saw so many women of color. It was a beautiful sight.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Are there any Black organizations for like women in sports or coaches or coaching organizations specifically for Black women?
Black Women's Sports Foundation.
Oh yeah, I was a board member of that as well, with Tina Sloan Green, but their focus is really on getting minorities in minority sports. They have clinics and whatnot, and that's one reason why I started what I started, because I knew we didn't have that per se. I wanted to really grow the athletic administrative piece. And so let me just say this. When people say you can't, that's where they said you can't do it. Well, I'm living proof that you can create your own.
Absolutely.
Create your own. And so I didn't know I was doing that. I just saw a need and just, and I don't call it anything about athletics. I want you to think about growth. I want you to think about a garden, and being in the garden is uncomfortable. If you with me, I ain't gonna make you uncomfortable. Ain't that right, Danny? But it's all in love.
It is love. It is. It's definitely.
Well, I appreciate you being on. Thank you so much. This hour that went by so fast, of course, because we knew you was going to bring it. We knew you was going to bring it. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the magazine cover. Thank you for everything that you bring to the industry. I mean, you are a trailblazer for women in athletics, like the trailblazer. Like, you are the GOAT. I mean, if nobody's recognized you for that, what is the problem? Because who else has done more than what you have, based off of where you come from, where you started? Because you were in a space where it was totally male dominated, kind of like me with football. It's a male dominated space, and you totally just knocked the door in, and you paved a way for us to come through. Yes, facts.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to grad school, my minor was sociology of sport, because Monique's experience doing sports psychology and sociology. So that connection in her telling stories about, sport mimics life, life mimics sport. And there's this constant connection. And then her teaching and grooming me in college as a young Black female who aspired to be a sports information director. Because when I stepped foot on Hampton's campus, I didn't know what sports information was until I met Patricia Harvey. And my life changed because of that. And my life changed because of the direction that I got from Monique AJ Smith. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that who I am now and where I am now, I definitely would not be here without her.
You definitely paved the way, sis. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
We're proud of you. We're proud of you. Thank you. And thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for just having the, being the having the courage and the bravery to walk through it, because I know it wasn't tough. I mean, I knew it was tough. Because again, you had to figure it out, because there was no blueprint. Right? There was no blueprint.
She is the blueprint.
And so you had to create the blueprint for it. So,
Mhm.
just thank you. Just on behalf of all everybody that that you put in your magazines and everybody, who you've helped and who helped mentor. Just thank you. I just wanted to make sure you got your flowers. That's why I wanted you on our show today, is to make sure if nobody else gave you your flowers, I want to make sure that we gave you your flowers. We appreciate you, sis.
Thank you.
Close us out, Danny. Let's go.
Again, thank you so much for joining us, to my mentor and my sports queen, Monique AJ Smith. We gonna definitely have to have you back, because an hour is clearly not enough. But if you have not already, make sure you follow us on all of our social platforms. Follow us on Facebook at Hits and Heels. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/at Hits and Heels. All right. So Terry's the guru behind monetizing this thing. She gonna monetize this thing. So make sure you stay tuned to the show, and come back next week. Are we doing a show next week? Next week is
I was thinking, I hadn't made up my mind yet, because I know next week is the
it's
day before Thanksgiving.
So
I don't know. We'll see.
either way, some it might be a replay or something like that. But
we got a couple good replays.
Yeah.
We might do a replay.
Definitely
Calandra Valentine, thank you for coming on.
Yes, definitely.
Anybody else that's on watching and still sticking with us, appreciate you.
So thank you all so much. We will be back, maybe not next week, but the week after for sure. But in the meantime, go ahead and treat us like Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever. And go ahead and sit back, head to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe to the channel, and then go ahead and binge watch all 6 seasons.
Yeah. I think you got it broke down by seasons, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead and watch 6 seasons. That'll take you through. We come back live again. So thank you again, Monique, for joining us. We love you so much, and we thank you for all that you have poured into the industry and women that look like us, and all that you continue to do for us. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to end the stream, but don't log off.
Yep.
Okay.